approve the agenda?
I would move that we, are you ready?
Mhm.
Motion, I would move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, I've had a motion from Bill and a second from David to approve the agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. Comments from the public, Teresa? Okay. 4.01, Director of Operations Facility Report, Richard Smith.
Okay. We got a report back this last Friday from Bartlett and West on the drainage recommendations at Eugene Field, and they covered all four sides of the building, of course, and everything that they felt like that should be done to help turn the water away from that building. Some of the biggest things was on the north side. They're removing that sidewalk, moving the sidewalk closer to the building after some elevation of dirt was made at the building level and brought out to a slope there. On the west side, they was recommending some drainage, French ditch to be put in and go straight south across the parking lot, underneath the parking lot, and then till it comes to daylight. And on the east end, it was basically the drain downspouts to be brought above ground to drain on top of the ground with a concrete splash block type thing, and then go underneath the sidewalks. And we do have a fairly decent elevation drop there toward Tremont. So some of those things are I don't want to say an easy fix, but they're makes pretty good common sense of what needs to be done, and then some of them are is a little more extensive. So at this point, we're just I'm looking to get a little direction if you want to put this out for RFP bids and from some general contractors and see if we want to proceed with that or how you want to proceed.
Well, I would.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I would recommend we look at the north side of the building where that was an issue with the water standing over the sidewalk. Have Richard go ahead and get bids for that and see where that comes in. And I think on the, as far as the downspouts, Richard, like on the east side.
Front of the building.
I mean, is it going to be a big project to run those out over the top?
Little dirt excavation to be brought in, and then the splash is poured in place, and then cut the sidewalk out. And I wouldn't think it'd be that big of a deal.
That's what
you're going to be losing some shrubbery, and but.
Now, are you talking about the one that, according to the inspection, is actually clogged somewhere underground?
On the on the north side, excuse me. On the north side, those scuppers had plugged up the downspouts, and once those were cleaned out, this was back in April or May, we ran water in there with a hose trying to figure out where it went to, and we never saw water come to the top. So I'm not sure where they were going to. That's the reason why they were thinking that, and it's just a 4-inch plastic drain that goes out to
Should go out to the street, right?
out to the street. Yeah.
And nothing came out the other end?
Nothing came out.
Have you tried rotting it?
No, we haven't rotted it. We haven't camera shot it. We haven't done anything other than that. I'm thinking that some of it might be drain tile, just regular drain tile, and the water is just leaching through. But, you know, I don't know how long we would, I was a little concerned about if it was not going out that way and it was coming back into our building, into the crawl space somewhere. I didn't want to pump a bunch of water down in there without knowing for sure where it was going to.
Sure. I'd try rotting it from the street up, see if that works, personally,
Mm-hmm.
from a professional standpoint.
Come on out and help me.
Sure,
You-
anytime.
You got the machine. Okay.
Where was somebody was doing something and they found a bunch of mud. Was that under the library on that north corner?
Yes, it was BCI when they were underneath there drilling for, they found some, a muddy area there. In the library, Jamie, one of my maintenance guys, had just removed that bathroom in that library. And of course, they turned the water off to remove the water lines, and they was taking the sinks off the walls and removing everything out of that library bathroom. And all that water drained out right there, which made a muddy spot. It's just a matter of days before BCI got underneath there.
Isn't that, when they did the roof, they didn't have the downspouts hooked up over there on that side too, did they?
That's true. They didn't have the downspouts, but I still don't believe that's where that water came from. Or it would have been in a more, across the front as well, because all the way across, none of those downspouts was in when that one rain we had that came. But it could have been. I mean, I don't know for sure.
Is it dry now?
Yes,
Under there?
yes. Of course, we haven't had much rain, but,
I know that.
and I wasn't underneath there today, so,
I think everything's dry.
yeah. It's very dry under there. I mean, it's, you know, like this, it's just hard, dry dirt.
Well, we've always had trouble in that library with the mold that's not mold. And then we have water underneath it that now is gone. So when we get this sidewalk fixed, are we gonna have trouble with that water? Is that gonna take care of that water if it wasn't because of the bathroom thing?
I'm just giving you the report of what they said. I don't know if that's gonna take care of all the drainage issues or not.
Well, that's what
The
we're talking about.
roof that was leaking over the years, that caused mold in that bathroom in years past, was, you know, a big problem, which we spent the money to fix that roof in there. Once that roof was capped off there, it has, actually, we put a new soffit in there the year before, and that stopped a lot of that moisture coming in and causing that in that area 2 years ago.
But you fixed the roof already, the roof over there?
New roof is on and done.
And the downspouts from that area are clear?
Yes,
So
now.
So water draining away from the building at that point. May not get all the way to the street, but it's draining away from the building.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I don't know where it's going at this point. It just, like I say, we ran a hose in there, and we don't know where it went to. And we've only had the one little rain this last weekend, and it really wasn't that much to amount to.
What about the underfooting washout
So,
that PKMR identified? In the letter, PKMR said they said there's an underfooting washout that was sitting on mud.
on the south side?
It's under the library, isn't it?
Mhm.
It's under the library, that's what he's talking about.
No, on the south side,
South
it's
side.
but that's all dry, and the water that was there was from where they drilled all the things. It doesn't, it's not coming in from around the foundation or through that, what playground area that all drains away.
Okay. I think the question at hand is, do we go ahead and begin the proceedings or the process of getting RFPs to do some of the things recommended in this study?
You want to
Is
break
that
it?
correct?
Break it into two projects? Or you want to do it as a single project?
Well, that's part of the question at hand.
Do you have any idea how much, what it's gonna cost to do everything versus, I mean, I have no idea. Is there any ballpark idea?
I'm not sure. The concrete work on the north end is probably going to be the most expensive, and the next is probably running the French drain through the new playground. On the south side, where it had washed out next to the footings, for many, many years, that old playground drained back to the building, and all that water went, that's where it went to, from the far outside of the playground all the way back in. And this last year, when you guys approved the new playground to be installed, we changed that elevation, raised it up 8 inches up onto the building, took out the hose or the bibs so we could get it up that high, and now we got a nice elevation that it actually slopes away from the building.
Slopes away.
Yeah,
Now,
that was
now we
another.
haven't had rain,
Pardon me?
and now we haven't had rain.
Yes, but we did that in April or May, and we did have a few rains
Okay.
back in those months.
Well, all right, so.
I guess
from
I
where-
wouldn't approve something to give a blank checkbook until I see
Right.
a little bit more design, because I think
But
one
what-
of yours, Richard, they were talking about cutting a sidewalk and then
Right.
running the water underneath the sidewalk. And then are we putting a concrete back on top to have the people walk on it, or were they thinking?
Probably not. I think they're talking about a metal top.
And I guess for me, if you were blading sidewalks, that's a maintenance hazard, because you catch it and all that.
It is.
I guess I'd like to see a little more detail before I would say
Well,
write a check.
And I think they're back at the point of, do we get an RFP to go ahead and?
Right.
That's what I
And
was
what part of
hearing.
it, that's what we want to, I mean, how much of it do you want to look at? And
Well, we need to probably look at all of it, but what's the
Yeah.
most critical?
Right.
I
We
agree.
need,
That's
we
Well-
need to look at all of it and start,
The one thing that wasn't addressed is the west parking lot in his report. The west parking lot, as everybody knows and has been for 5 or 6 years since I've been here, is very poor. It's higher than the building. And so when when it rains, the water gets from the curb of the parking lot to the building. That was one reason why we took the downspouts on the west side and rerouted them to the north side and to the south side. They got rid of all that water dumping off of the roof in that area. Now, before we did, I think, the cutout of the French drain all the way across the new playground area, I really believe that should be addressed at some point first, the parking lot area, and that may take care of our need of having to have a French drain that comes across that south side. Because I would like to run that parking lot all the way up to the building with a nice slope from the alley down, and have a valley in the middle with inlet drains, and then try to carry it on out to Tremont, or West 7th Street. But that's all, that's
If we went to that extent, Richard, wouldn't we need to improve the alley?
we've always asked that before, haven't we?
And
Yeah.
the city has been involved in that, and we've always hit a brick wall there.
Because
Well,
I mean, if
at
we
the
still run a lot of
expense.
water onto the alley, then we don't want to be confused of dumping water on the neighbors. And then we still got a gravel drive where we're running our buses up and down, and all the traffic. So we don't resolve the problem that we really want to solve.
Yeah, the best we've been able to get done the last 3 or 4 years since I've been here is new gravel right before school starts, and they usually grade it out for us once a year, and that's it. Back in '08, when I was looking at this project, they acted like that they would maybe want to share some expense with the alley if we wanted to do the parking lot, but there was nothing ever in writing, and we would need it in writing, of course, to do that, but.
Well, water's the bane of our existence. If it's coming in, it's bad. If it's
That's right.
not there, it's bad.
That's right.
So,
You're right.
I think we need to get figures and RFPs and figure
You wanna
out, then triage it
look
in
at the
terms of
whole-
what's
the
more
whole
important.
recommendation and see where we are, and then,
Yep,
okay.
and get a plan to do
That's
that
what we
so that we can financially deal with it. Because,
Do you need a motion for that, or just a recommendation?
no, I think we just need some consensus that we need
I
the
think it ought to be broken
RFP.
into 2 pieces, the north side piece, and then the French drain piece, and then we can,
Well, or more pieces, depending
look
on
at-
what they say.
My only recommendation is don't go to a vendor and do it. I say we hire our own engineer to do our own design first. and then we send the bid out.
Yeah,
after
I would
we
agree with that.
on a design.
I would agree with that.
I'm not gonna go to your firm and then go to your firm and have you both design one and then we butts heads.
And we've already, and we've got that.
You've got the
We
detail.
went to the
Dave
engineer,
already did
and
that.
we've done that.
Well, I just saw the narrative and I didn't.
I'm
know
sorry,
what was-
yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
What engineer did you go to?
Bartlett and West,
So they didn't just do the narrative on a walkthrough, they've actually got a design document.
yes, yes, and I can
Well,
show
then you
you,
answered the question. Thank you.
yeah.
If we got a designed document, then I feel better, because then it's our engineers designing it and then sending it out. I didn't know that was done.
I'm sorry, I should have said that. I didn't bring that
Not a
out.
problem, Richard.
Okay. So do you have some idea about where to go from there? You all-
Well, what I think we should do is like Dean said, I think we should start with, we know the most troubled spot, which is the north side. Get a bid on that, and then maybe break down the east as another part and the west as another part, if you want to do that before you do the parking lot. I'm just hoping that that's not getting the cart before the horse there.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I know we got, what's nice about when we changed the downspouts from the back of the building to the north and south ends, our boiler rooms, every time it rained, before that, it flooded. We burn up sump pumps, pumping water out, da-da-da-da-da. So once we removed that drainage off of that roof, going both ways, that area now in our boiler room takes in no more water. I mean, what little rain comes, whoever put it in the parking lot before did put a curb on there, but it kind of comes around and it goes to the north side, and down that north side, and it gets wet there, very wet, till it builds up enough to where it runs on down.
All right.
So that's what I'll do. I'll get some RFPs and have the contractors break it down into possibly three bids, three
Yep.
prices, then I'll bring them back. Okay.
Yep. Tell them we want it all, and we want it for free. It's easy.
They understand that with the school
Okay,
district.
good. Well, at least we're clear. All right, thank you, Richard. 4.02, review leadership principles 1 through 8. For those of you, we've got
Yeah,
hard
I'll give
copy
you
as
a hard
well.
copy, and it's also attached there. And these are, we tweak a little bit year to year. Has everybody had a chance to read those? If not, maybe look at the first 8 there. First one has to do with personnel and who serves on different committees for hiring administrators, and currently we have two board members. I mean, we could change that to 3 if you wanted to. I think when we first did this, that was the most you could have. That would be one thing in that, but I think everything else works pretty good on that. And then obviously selecting the superintendent, the whole board's involved. What do you think about the number of board members?
I think that's fine. Two's fine.
2?
Two's fine.
Okay. And then anything on 2? Oh, I'm sorry, that's the policy. That's what we're doing actually tonight. We'll approve a bunch of those. KASB has the set of guidelines that we review and go through.
Yep. It's a painful but necessary process,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then superintendent and personnel matters, I think that's probably all the same.
Yeah.
Negotiations, superintendent's role, and then the next one is the board's role in negotiations. Anything need to change there? The thing that, I mean, we currently do IBB. If that ever changed back to traditional, we would probably need to change some wording there. Just to negotiation team instead of IBB possibly.
Is there any reason why we couldn't just change to the negotiation?
I
team
guess
then?
it could be, why don't we do that, and then we don't have to worry about let's just change that.
I guess before we do it, since we've been in IBB, I'd at least have the respect to tell the IBP people we're changing that as a way of clarifying than just arbitrarily taking IBB out.
I don't know that, I mean, IBB is just is a terminology, so it's, yes, it's our
Cool.
current process, but
But we can sure mention, just put down negotiating team, which it is, and instead of specifically saying IBB, and then it could go whatever direction it we needed, so.
So are you saying we would not be doing IBB?
No, no, it'd just be the negotiation process. Instead of specifically saying IBB, and if it did change, it could go either way. But if we specifically say that, then it could be an issue. Do you follow what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
negotiation process is not as.
Process is still the IBB process.
I
But-
understand all of that, but I also know what we have our training and what the teachers' union think we're doing is IBB, and then all of a sudden we're not gonna do IBB, or we're just not calling it IBB. Is that what you're saying?
We're just, it's the
A broader
negotiate.
term.
we're just using a broader term, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you, how important is it for the superintendent to be at the table? Yeah, when I negotiated, we never had the superintendent there.
Oh, I think it's very important,
Do you think so?
yes. I think then you get back to well, I can't say the name, but we're back to that other time, and that was
Well, when we were doing it, we were doing IBB, and we didn't have a superintendent there, and it was a free-flowing process. It was well done. Very little antagonism.
Then you probably need to be on the negotiation team next time.
But I get hung up on dangling participles.
We don't want your
And
participles to
potatoes right
dangle.
now.
We don't want your
There's a lot of that.
participles to
You
dangle.
do, and you'll
Bill.
clean it up, Bill.
Yeah.
Larry Felix joke coming up.
I know.
Does he dangle a lot?
No, never mind.
Never mind. Yeah.
I would just
don't mind.
caution that before we just arbitrarily do it, I'd show respect since we've been doing IBB, just to tell them that we're doing this to broaden our policy, not to take it away. And again, you guys can go whichever way, I would think out of respect for all those times, to at least share that with them before it happens.
But we're not changing a policy, we're just changing some of the leadership, wording of the leadership
Right.
principles.
Right.
I understand.
It's still, we'll inform them on the rationale there. Designated spokesperson, superintendent and board president.
But I guess too, I think we're all spokespeople for the board. You know, whenever we're out in public, or if we're at meetings, or wherever. I mean, while the press might call us for comment, I mean, we are all in that role of being spokespeople and
What shall we
support.
include?
I guess this, to me, Susan, is when there's a
This is a
disaster, when you're a
formal-
public information officer. This, to me, is a public information officer.
This is the focal
Who is
point.
designated as a person to answer all questions about a case.
Right.
Just not me saying, well, I think this, or David saying,
Yeah, I
I
think
think
this
this
is the
is
crisis-
structured if
this is the
something
crisis
disastrous
situation.
happened in our district.
Okay.
I agree.
Yep. Well, and I guess I just want to caveat everybody
And
that
I would
just
say
think that
we
everybody's a
designate the
spokespeople.
the information officer of the board to be the superintendent and the board president, instead of saying spokesperson. I would
Yeah,
say
'cause-
public information officer, because that goes back to disaster planning. And,
Because we really do represent, you know,
Certainly.
when we're out in public, how we
Yeah.
present ourselves. So, I don't know.
Be surprised how many questions I answer throughout the course of a day.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay?
so are we changing that to public information?
Yeah, I'll make these changes and then bring it back next time. We'll look at the next 8 and then see what we want to change there. 7, then, how will patron complaints that go to the board members be handled? I think we've gone through this. Is there any changes
No?
there? I mean, listen to the complaint, call the superintendent to discuss it, review the chain of command, explaining how to get on the board agenda, and which is talk to the board clerk, Teresa Powers, prior to the meeting.
I think 2 and 3 need to flip-flop probably, because you should review the chain of command while you're listening, in the process of listening to the complaint, you should review the command. Then when you're done with the conversation, you talk to the superintendent about the phone call or whatever.
I agree.
To do what now?
Which one are you talking about, number 7 or
Yeah,
number 8?
number 7.
Number 7,
7A and then I, double I, and triple I, if you want to look at them that way, the Roman numerals. He's talking about 2 and 3. You should review the chain of command first and then
The
call the
patron.
superintendent.
Okay, so move that up.
Yeah, just change
well, actually,
A, 2, and 3.
move 3 and 4 up and put 2 at the bottom.
All right, let me get this. Okay, 2 at the bottom.
Actually, if you just do that, then just everything else moves up, you're in good shape. Is in reviewing the chain of command, explaining how to get on the agenda, if you get that far, and then, if you need to, and then,
Call the superintendent.
once you're done with the conversation, then call the superintendent.
So you don't want review chain of command first, leave it,
Well, you wanna
Yeah.
listen to the
Listen
complaint,
listen to
Listen,
the complaint, then review.
Then review the
yeah,
chain of
okay.
command.
So if we move it down, we're good.
yeah,
Okay,
and then explain how to get on the board agenda after you've done that, and then
Call you and tell you.
call you and tell you what happened.
got it?
yeah,
That's-
that makes sense.
Because that's what you have in the next one already, in 8.
Listen, yeah.
It's already written that
Listen
way.
to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else there on 8? I mean, if they'll match pretty much then, so.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
we're doing just 1 through 8, is
Yeah,
that correct?
that's what I had, and then we'll
And then we got 9 through.
do the rest of it.
Next meeting?
Good. Yeah, plenty of time.
Okay.
Wait, there's no
All
football
right.
game tonight, is there? See?
Okay. Board reports. Oh, do we need to vote? I'm sorry.
No.
No, no,
That's
no.
not- Okay, all right. Excuse me. Board reports. Right to left on my side.
Only thing I have to report right now is that the music department at the high school had another big band dance, and I played it in the big band, which was a hoot, and they're doing it again on the 16th.
Hey, I didn't get that message.
They're doing it again on the
16th, big band.
16th of February.
Sweet.
My only complaint with the whole deal is I don't ever remember seeing any publicity on it.
There's a little bit,
Yeah,
but not
I'd like to
much.
see them do more.
Yeah.
It was an awful lot of fun.
Okay. Anyone else?
I got
Yes.
one. I went to KASB legislative, it was actually their board meeting and their work comp, the insurance group was there, Marge was there, and I was there for the legislative committee. On Saturday, I was there from 9 until 4:30 in the afternoon, and we're trying to really put together our legislative policy. They're going again with last year, we did that first in education the Kansas way, they rolled that out. And we're basically, instead of doing several resolutions, they're gonna try to do one, they call it super resolution to approve at the convention, and it's this first in Kansas, or first in education the Kansas way. I brought some information if you guys wanna go through it or look at it, if you guys, they said to bring it back, there's several points we really hung up on. What we really hung up on was teacher performance. They're saying that one thing that's good, I guess, if you wanna look at it this way, about the new legislative makeup, is that we're still, the state laws are under a 1990 laws regarding teacher negotiation that gave it more control to the teacher side of negotiations. And that was under the last time there was a Democratic governor and Democrats controlled both sides of the House. They said now that it's the other way, this would be the time, and there's a lot of debate about this, of whether you want to make the policies more favorable to the school board. So there was pretty heated debate in my committee of whether or not we should push for that. We don't want to upset, I guess, NEA, the state KNEA knows that they're in trouble, given the current, you know,
Makeup of
Waiver?
legislature.
yeah, the waiver, exactly, because part of the waiver is to hold teachers accountable for results. And that's coming from the Democratic president and the Democratic House and the US level. But, so NEA is basically trying to get KSB to say, stand beside us, you guys better support us, we need to all be in this together. And so the question is, should we stand beside them and support them, or should we take advantage of this to make things go more our way when it comes to negotiations?
Question
So-
is, who's ultimately accountable for the behavior, for the result? Are the teachers ultimately accountable, or our boards are ultimately accountable?
That's basically, yeah, that's the question. So, I mean, and part of the waiver that we got from the federal government includes that there's gonna be more accountability
Right.
for teachers. I mean, that's part of it. That's one of the big things Obama has pushed, is a better evaluation tool, and the whole KEEP process is going through. And so it's really interesting discussion in the committee, and we spent 2 or 3 hours on this one issue.
Did they come up with an answer?
Yeah, we had many word changes and trying to rework it. The majority of the room wants to collaborate more with the teachers. We don't want to feel like we're just trying to run roughshod over them, but we do think there's some things that basically taking, the evaluation tool out of the negotiation process. But the evaluation tool should not be a negotiable item. So right now it is, and that's this one thing that they were talking about.
Did they
Now
say,
that it's a mandated item, yeah.
Right, and they want to take it out. That's one of the things.
did they say anything, Brandon, about, I mean, you know, we have this waiver, and all these things change with the, it's contingent on
Yes.
that piece, the keep
Yes.
and those things.
Yeah,
Did
there's a
they
couple-
say what happened? I mean, something's gonna have to happen. If it doesn't, then what? I mean,
If the feds don't approve, I guess if the feds don't approve.
pull all our money, our state, federal funding?
Or
or-
they'll take away our waiver, we'll have to go back to, I guess, No Child Left Behind, I
Yeah.
guess. By then, I think it's kind of collapsed anyhow. I mean,
Yeah,
what is it, 38 states are out of it now?
yeah.
I've got the waiver. So I brought back with me all the different stuff that we're trying to put forward, and they're gonna do the fall listening tours where they're going to run the fall, and we're gonna have this put together for everyone to look at, so you all get to see it then and take feedback, and then we're gonna meet again in November to finalize our resolution that will then be presented at the December annual convention up in Topeka, which is it's the first Saturday, December 1st is when it is. So, and this year, the General Assembly, when we vote, is actually on Sunday, I think, not on Saturday, which is a change.
Hmm.
So,
So people stay.
yeah.
It's in Topeka?
It's in Topeka this year. It's Capitol Plaza.
Okay, all right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's different, yeah.
I guess it was in Kansas City last year, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Wichita the year before that.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any feedback, or we can, talk about this more on
Well,
this.
one thing that in negotiations we're talking about is, when we talked about the evaluation tool, and that was have the committee that developed the last evaluation tool we have get together and look at the keep, and actually we had, Terry Howard served on the state committee when they started developing that, so she's very familiar with it, and then Cindy Gehring on the administrative side was also on there, but pull that group together and look at what we have. Now, you don't have to use the keep
Right.
document, but you have to use something very similar that the
Right.
state approves, so
State
that's what
approved.
we're gonna look at.
It has to be
And-
state approved, and KEEP is one that they're using as a model. It doesn't have to
Exactly.
be KEEP, but it has to be approved,
It-
and here's
yeah.
one that's approved.
And you have to have that accountability piece in there, and
Right.
that's what no one has an answer
And
to
the
yet,
big
so.
debate is the continuing question of,
Yeah.
should teachers be held accountable for bad test scores one year? Because there's multiple things that come into to play that could affect those, but
Yeah.
there's gotta be some way to determine, I don't know, it's an interesting discussion.
There's a lot of
We'll have to
debate
go
to
into
have
how
on
do you
that, yeah.
evaluate? If student performance and achievement is the thing that's most important, and teachers are the ones that are responsible for getting that, I don't know, it's just an interesting topic. There was, I said, pretty heavy debate about it. And also, there's a lot of talk about the test that we're gonna switch to, whether it's gonna be the smarter balance test,
Smarter balance.
or the ACT. And a lot of people think ACT because it's well-known, but the ACT, I guess, costs about $45 a test, whereas smarter balance costs like $18 a test.
Mhm.
So there's that issue too, and whether or not the KSB is gonna recommend one way or the other, or just, I don't know, it's a lot is changing right now. And a third of the state legislature, of the House is gonna change, a third of the Senate's gonna change. It's going way more conservative, so,
Which could be a problem for us.
right.
A lot of debate.
And that's the other thing is how strong to advocate, the other big debate we had is, Brownback has said he's gonna hold, that he has made a statement that he has come through on all his promises so far, that he's gonna hold education harmless. Every other department's being asked to give a 10% reduced budget, but he wants to hold education harmless, is what he said. And a lot of people question that because we make up so much, we think the state's gonna lose so much money and we're a big part of it. But so as KASB, should we advocate, okay, look, just don't cut us anymore and continue to give us cost of living basically increase to the base state aid? Or should we still try to argue for what statutorily they should be giving us by their own statute they enacted, which is way higher? Or is that just being too unrealistic? And there's some people in the committee who are part of the lawsuit, and they say we can't go in and ask for anything less because then it undercuts us on our lawsuit. And other people are saying, no, we gotta be realistic and just hope that they don't cut us anymore. Let's take what we're getting. So it was an interesting debate up there. We spent hours going back and forth. but we're moving forward, and then, of course, it's all subject to approval of the entire body, you know. So,
You know, somebody made, I didn't hear who said it, but somebody made the comment that because the legislature's going more conservative, that's gonna be dangerous for us. I don't necessarily agree with that point of view. Just because we have a conservative legislature doesn't mean that we're gonna get cut to the quick. We still have to make our case for what we need to be able to do. We just need to be careful as to how we approach it, because we are going to be facing with a group, if the legislature goes more conservative, you are going to be faced with people that are going to question you on it. And you need to be able to answer all their questions. And if you can answer their questions, my guess is you'll have their support.
but it seems like there's a definite push from the more conservative side that teacher tenure is something they want to look at, but that's also come from Obama. I mean, he's one to put that out, that there needs to be a better evaluation tool.
Well, the first step in that is
Well,
the
there-
evaluation tool.
And there have been
Right.
states that have outlawed tenure. I think, did New Jersey just
New
outlaw?
Jersey did, yeah.
Yeah.
Texas hasn't had it for years.
Yeah, Texas.
Well, the
has-
one key is gonna be the tool, because without a standardized tool that
Yeah,
everybody
it's-
can
it's the
can
standard
work
tool.
with,
And that's
again,
the
everybody
frustration.
has opinions. And the other one is, if we want, again, we get into debate, to do effective evaluation takes two things: time and commitment of both parties. And again, it's gotta be an open process and an open dialogue to where it's not punitive, and you need some coaching involved. And you can't get afraid of the process to work through that. And until we actually work more as industry does, to where you actually have some time to do the evaluation, if you look at the minutes of the day, and you look at the duties of our principals, like Lincoln with 550 kids with one principal, get all those evaluations and all that time, it's difficult to do it fairly. So they're gonna have to put some dollars in the evaluation process.
The biggest issue is designing a fair evaluation tool that is fair to the people being evaluated, but also is realistic, and so sounds like that's a statewide issue.
And it should be.
Yeah.
That should be a statewide issue.
Keeps trying to address that.
Yeah.
So everyone's excited to see what they're gonna come out with, but the Teachers Association, of course, wants their input on that as well, and it's just, I don't know,
Well,
it's
they've,
an interesting day.
yeah, they've worked pretty good. I mean, NEA's been a part of that, and I know one of the issues, I think it was at KASB legislative, or governmental relations seminar they had last year, and one of the schools that's piloting the program was there, talked about it, and how it's too time consuming for all the administrators, the requirements they have, so they really need to start gleaning that down to make it to where you can actually get it done. So, and a couple schools dropped out because of that. So there's a lot of issues that need to be addressed soon, so.
Marge might be able to give a few more details, but the first speaker that spoke to all of us was from the Kansas Department of Education, correct? He was really good about talking all about the waiver and what it meant and everything. I thought.
You want to piggyback on?
To follow on that, this is the first time since whenever QPA came in effect that I have hope for the system. And listening to what Brad Nineswander talked to us about, I wished all of us could have heard it. I wished all of the teachers could have heard it. I think everybody would feel a lot better about what it is. I felt in good hands with him being there. Basically, instead of failing on one time, if we don't meet proficiency, we fail. Now we have 4 different ways, and you're already proficient, but there's a, whatever achievement. If you're already high, then you're not going to improve that. You're not going to see growth, but they don't have to, because it's a 4-prong thing instead of just a 1-prong thing, which I felt really positive about. The workman's comp part, it's real short, down to 81 members, which is not a good thing, basically because of the assessments a few years ago. We do have, this is a good problem to have. We decided to wait and discuss it in January, or decide in January, but we have a surplus, and according to the state, maybe too much surplus. So there's a way, how are we going to spend it? Are we going to give dividends? Are we going to reduce the rates? Are we going to, and they came up with a really interesting grant idea to, like for us, that we are so high here in USD 290 on our mod factor, to design classes, design instruction, design something, and get a grant for that, besides what KSB already brings to us, and maybe to help us reduce that mod factor. Our mod factor, we're the 5th highest in the state,
Oh.
that of the 81, and we went up 12 points this year, and that's not something that I like. One of the things, when I first got on the board, we were at 80.80, now at 1.37. So we came up, in 11 years, we've came up a long ways. That's nothing to be proud of. The other thing, I did some little math today, and of those top ones, most of them went down in the last year. 2 of us went up. So that's not a good thing either. So we need to keep working on,
Preventative.
safety being important. And
Marge?
safer.
Maybe you know and I don't know. Our mod factor went up because of high claim usage again
Yes.
this year,
Yes, it's a 3-year
over the
Monarch
3 year.
thing.
Average.
So this year may not have been too bad, but the previous 2 were awful.
And I will say, there is a positive there, though. Our meeting ended, and this is really too bad that it ended this way. We listened to 3 death cases. Ottawa hasn't had a death case, so that is a positive. And it is terrible. The room is very quiet, and, millions of dollars going out the window, and it's just a real sad thing.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Really sad thing.
We had some real expensive ones. So.
What we basically think probably
But we went up,
reduce
so
in
why did
rates
we
will
go
probably
up?
be the way we go. That we will go back in January and decide that. So that's a good news for us too.
Okay,
That's all I had.
all right. Thank you all. All right, 4.04, Dean.
Okay, first thing, we talked a little bit here about the waiver and some of those things, and like I had said before, that Eugene Field is a priority school, and we sent the letter out to parents kind of explaining that process. And again, I think it's gonna be good, just like when we first had KLN come and do a lot of work with this. I thought that made a huge difference district-wide. Instead of doing that district-wide now, they focus on different buildings. So the first meeting that we have is September 13th in Kansas City, Kansas. I don't know the location. It's at one of the schools or their district office or someplace. But this is, I believe, all the eastern half of the state will get together there with KLN. We're very familiar with that and those folks, and start that process. So September 13th will be the first day that we have get together with them and talk about needs assessment and look at the plan that they had actually developed last year, being on watch. And so that is going to get started soon. Enrollment data, again, this changes daily, and I don't know if this one, I think this is the latest where Eugene Field had lost a kindergartner today, and I don't know if I changed it on that or not. But anyway, if you look at this, you can see the numbers compared to this year to last year. If you look at on the right-hand column where it says total in red, and then next to it, it has 2011 FTE, that's actually head count instead for 2011 instead of FTE. Our PALS numbers are at 23 right now, and I know they're still testing. And then the other, to get the 59, and then the 36 4-year-old at-risk kids that is at Eugene Field now. Elementary numbers, we're at 1,246. That does not include about 9 students that either go to Lake Mary or Marillac or something that are off campus. So that doesn't include that number in that 1,246 because they're not housed in the building now, not in a seat.
Is that the same issue then for 11? So are we comparing apples and apples?
No, that 11 includes everyone. That's off after the audit,
So
September
the
20th.
1256 is audited numbers?
Yes.
And this
So
one?
we will be very close to that.
Okay.
Same number. And again, we still have people coming and going. The middle school and high school numbers, you can see, middle school is very comparable. I think we're, 9 up right now. We do have 3 students that are in the virtual school that are middle school age, and 9 at the high school, so we have 12 virtual school students currently. The total numbers, if you look, grand total for 2012, 2,543. That includes everything, including future visions. To get a head count there, it takes several weeks of attendance, and they actually go a little bit longer than what the normal count. Last year they had 54.9. I just used the same number until we get there. They're assuming it's going to be about the same, but those numbers could change also. And then we have about 10 private school students that we provide services for, special ed services, that will be filtered in as we go through this in our total numbers. When you look at the 2011 in the blue, those were figured in the blue and not in our numbers yet. So there's a lot of question marks there. But overall, last year we used 2,420 FTE for the budget, and right now we are 6 students above that. Now that could change anytime, but we should hit our mark fairly close. High school numbers, you can see the increase, the 724 compared to 707. We had a small senior class graduate last year, the 140 on September 20th, and we currently have 166 students there. And then the virtual school student enrollment count will be separate, but they're high school numbers, but they're separate than, because the formula is different. We get 1.05 funding for them and not anything for like at-risk, transportation, any of the other things. What was the other comment here? We have, let's see, 29 as of today enrolled in the Ottawa Learning Center out here. Those numbers are probably up a little bit, but I know Ryan's philosophy is a little different, and I think we're getting a lot of kids that would have dropped out taking advantage of this, which is a very good thing, and we should see those numbers, graduation numbers, increase, and should be more success coming there. And again, until September 20th, we really don't know the exact count. So that's the magic date, September 20th, and I'll keep updating this as we go. Future Visions plays a huge portion in our total numbers, but don't really affect seats and those things for us. And a lot more inquiries about virtual school. I think that program's going to continue to grow as the year goes and next year. So excited about that.
I wonder what happened to our current 6th grade. They went from 192 down to 178.
Yeah, I know it.
Did we have 14 kids move out of district, or?
Probably
It's
Billy
not-
sitting there. Yeah, there's a bunch. That was the
It's
thing,
not-
because usually that number jumps with a few Sacred Heart kids coming
I know.
in. And this is the first year I can remember that it went down like that, but.
From
yeah.
a budget standpoint, we've got 12 in the virtual school, and Dean, you said, are those included in the count in the high school and the middle school? And do we get additional revenue if they do both? Or which bucket do they stay in?
They'll stay in the virtual school bucket. They're not in, like Carmen's numbers.
The 564, they're not?
They're not included in there. And they're not included in the high schools.
So they're not coming in the building at all, they're gonna do straight.
There's a few kids that are gonna take an hour or two of electives, but they still count as a virtual school.
So I'm just talking out loud, is it better to count them as a full FTE or a virtual school FTE? Because if they're gonna get services in the school, that means staffing. Would it be better to grasp the larger dollar amount instead of the virtual school dollar amount?
We just had that conversation with the auditor today, and unless they're enrolled half-time at the site in the brick and mortar building, you can't count them as an FTE or half an FTE here and there. If it's less than that, they will stay as a virtual student and will get the 1.05 funding. And we won't get the other funding for them for the weighted funding for them.
I mean, as that grows, you could get creep, and it's nice to be very accommodating to people, but in a budget situation we could be in the future, is it one class, is it two class? I mean, because you can do virtual anytime during the day. You can do virtual at night. What happens if they ask and they want to come in and take 3 hours a day?
Right now, we're letting them do that. These are all, I
just think that's something we ought to look at it, because again, it's a cost issue that you don't get the other ads if you're still providing the services in the four walls of the school.
We have several homeschool kids that are doing virtual and taking some electives, which I'm glad to see that starting. And then several families that moved in that had done virtual school at other places that are taking advantage of this. So I don't think, as far as I know, and I'll find this out by September 20th, I don't think that we have anyone that was a full-time student at the high school doing virtual that says, oh, I'm not going to do full-time and take virtual. I don't think we have anybody in that category. But
Dean, I had a question about the OLC. You said 29 students. Are they come and go, they're not all there at the same time? Or
they come and go, some of, I mean,
So
they
do we have
would.
enough space is
Yeah.
my question.
Yeah, it's crowded, but they do have separate, or different schedules, and so, yeah.
So it is work.
Yeah, we have enough
doable.
computers but yeah, it's full. And there'll be some that actually will graduate pretty quick, so, which is good.
Okay. All right, any questions for Mr. Cap? All right, moving right on to 5.01, approve the board policies as listed. They've been listed and distributed.
Brian is at the Fusion event that's downtown with OU and USD 290. We always send a couple people down there, and Carmen has been going down there. I assume that's where Carmen is tonight too. But the explanation there, I think you've probably all read that. The questions that you had asked last time, Brian has attached here. And we didn't make any changes in the wording from what he had presented at the last time, but the explanations here answer the questions that were asked.
Okay, all right. Do I have a motion to accept the policies as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Brian, seconded by Bill, to accept the policies as presented. Any discussion or wish to remove any of them from here for further discussion?
We're okay.
Okay. Hearing no discussion, we will proceed on to vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. 5.02, classified salaries.
I'd like to propose that we approve a classified salary increase tonight, and then all the other salaries, obviously, when we get done negotiating. But classified salaries, the spreadsheet, what we'd like to do is a 30-cent increase plus the step movement. They're in categories, and each year they get a step. We have 92 non-custodial classified employees that the average increase would be 4.71% by the time you figure movement, everything. Sure. And that would be an average of 61 cents. Custodial maintenance, 31 employees, average increase 5.74, and that would be an average of 64 cents for those folks.
Okay.
Go ahead, you have a question?
No. Does any, does
No, I
anyone
think
have-
it's a good thing because when you look at our staff, they're very important people to our programs, and
I guess my only question is, the average percentage increase, is that different because of the number of years
Well,
of service?
It's step and movement also.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that's what
So
I'm
and
that's
asking.
it is.
goes
Yeah.
all together.
It depends on the age, or I say age, how long people
Yeah.
have been in the
So
district.
step, it's primarily different due to step and movement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, the classified or non-custodial classified, we have people working anywhere from maybe 600 hours a year to the 2,000 plus hours a year, and that's one reason that varies is
Okay.
also.
What's the percentage impact and dollar impact on the budget?
Total dollars for, and this is adding new employees, we added at-risk, or I say at-risk, that's where we're paying primary age, kindergarten first with the class sizes, and then 12-month technology aid person, and the increase there is total 65,000. The actual increase at the 30 cents at movement was almost 35,000 for non-custodial. For custodial/maintenance, the increase for 30 cents plus movements, 14,864.
Okay.
I'd make a-
I have a question. If someone has a different job description, do they stay at that same level? There's 3 groups in each level, I understand that. Do they stay there? Do they go down because
We-
if they have less work?
We haven't in the past had people take a pay cut if their job description changes. We haven't in the past.
Okay.
Okay, but we're paying someone for doing a lot less work now, or less,
Well, if their hours are, they're hourly employees.
what
So
about the
the-
ones that has more work to do, that we've loaded people with more work?
They'll be compensated for
Okay,
what they're doing.
okay.
Well, Madam President, I move that we approve the salary recommendation for non-custodial classified of step plus 30 cents, and for custodial and maintenance of, I believe that's 50 cents plus step and movement.
Second.
30 cents plus step
30
and movement. Sorry, I misread.
Yeah.
Sorry, Richard, I tried. 30 cents. I apologize, Madam President.
You almost got divorced.
I got the barn.
Or widowed, one or the other. All right. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Seconded by David. Sorry, I didn't hear you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. All in favor, raise your right hand. 6. All opposed, same sign. 6-1. We move on to section 6.01. And executive session for negotiations.
What do you think?
I'm stumbling. Sorry, I stumbled my words.
15, 10,
I'd say 15.
15 plus a break? All right, so 8:20?
Yeah.
You concurring with that, Marge? 8:20?
Madam President, I move that the board go into executive session for the purpose of discussing matters related to employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with a representative or the representatives of the body, and that the board return to the open meeting at 8:20 o'clock in this room. The executive session is required to protect the district's right to the confidentiality of its negotiating position and the public interest.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from David and a second from Bill to go into executive session for negotiations. All in favor, raise your right hand. 6-7-0. I thought you were going to vote against that. Sorry. I thought.
Second.
Aye.
Motion by Brian, second by David and Bill. All in favor, raise your right hand. That was easy. 7-0. We do not need an executive session for personnel, as I understand it, but we do have a personnel list provided us under Section 8.01. I'm sure you all have looked at it, memorized it, and are ready to make a motion.
I'm looking at it.
So do we have any other gaps that we haven't employed yet?
I think we're close, aren't we, Brian? Is there a couple pairs yet or not?
Paras were offered jobs today. And then
So-
they interviewed Josh had decided to do one job.
And we got no more that we need to add to our budgeting format yet.
Brian, there's one on this list, Harbison, that has no job title. What is she doing?
Where?
Must be a secret.
Meredith.
At PALS?
Special agent.
Is she the .6 one?
I don't know, she's an
doesn't have
employment
any-
one, so I don't know.
I believe that person is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday with the Palace program here in this building.
Okay.
She's a secret agent.
Who are they talking about?
Secret agent.
Secret
All right.
agent, man.
Well, that's not an
Do we have a motion?
Okay.
I move we accept the personnel list as presented.
Second.
Motion by Bill, second by David, to accept the personnel list as presented. Discussion. All right, hearing none. Time to vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0, sorry. Everybody's waiting now. We're on to announcements.
Okay, tomorrow morning, all the county superintendents and Anderson County Superintendent will be up, and that'll be our first meeting of the year. Talk about, obviously, educational issues, this area specific. Tomorrow night, then, at 5 o'clock, we will have our IBB session in the boardroom, and I order pizza, Teresa, hopefully just this last time, we'll see.
Make it.
Put that in
Yeah.
writing.
And then Wednesday morning is the Chamber Breakfast at Great Life, the Country Club, 7:15. Does anybody want to attend that?
I will do my best, just depends on what my daycare can do.
And I've got board meeting for my job, so I
Will
won't be
you
able
let me
I
know?
don't think I can.
Yeah,
ASAP.
I will attempt to make
I
it.
don't think I can, I'm sorry. I think
I can let you know
have a
tomorrow.
staff meeting or
Yeah,
something.
if you let me know tomorrow
Sorry.
so I can call them, so, okay. Obviously, no school on Monday. On Sunday, September 9th, then, we do have 2 teachers that will be recognized and receive their honors in Topeka, Stella Tharp at the high school, and, dang it, Dana Bridges. She's my grandson's teacher, too. Dana Bridges from Lincoln Elementary.
Just made point.
That will be our Teacher of the Year selection and this area. So it's going to be a neat event, but that starts, I believe, at 11:30.
If you keep forgetting her name, she's going to put
Oh,
him
I
in the
know,
circle
I know.
at recess.
That's a demerit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty
he'll-
sure.
he'll be in-
How-
You can-
he'll be in detention, so.
Mm.
And then next Monday, or not next Monday, September 10th, then, we may have IBB, probably will, but I'm going to be hopefully thinking that we won't. And then a board meeting at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. here. We do have the Wall of Honor banquet coming up on September 13th. Banquet starts, I believe, at 6:30, Ryan. And I know Dr. McCauley is being inducted. If you want to attend that, I think, did everybody get the invitation today?
I did.
Either let me or her know, Susan know, and we'll,
I'm planning on attending. Oh, we're going to see.
I'll be there.
For New York.
okay? Does anybody else know they're going? And
I'm planning on, I've got to send it in. That's a
Okay.
Wednesday night, isn't it?
Thursday.
Thursday night's the banquet. And then the Franklin County Development Council, formerly OFCED, annual banquet is Thursday, September 20th. Anyone, Dennis?
I'll be there.
I don't know the location for sure, but I bet it's out at,
Prairie Star.
yeah, out there at Williamsburg.
Yep, I'll be there.
Maybe since they changed their name, they're gonna have a new format. You just have to guess on where it's located.
That could
There you
be.
go.
Brandon, you'd gone in the
Get to know
past, are
Franklin
you
County.
interested in
I'll
that?
look and see if I
Okay,
I
let me
don't
know.
know.
Bill,
I don't
you
know.
know?
Don't know yet.
Okay, anybody
I
that
don't know.
thinks they can, let me know, and I'll get you signed up for that. And that's it.
Okay, good report. Let's see, do I have a motion? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
March and I thought I had it on here, but I maybe didn't highlight it. The ORC, isn't that September 10th?
Yes, it's a Monday.
The September, yeah,
Right
so
here, it would might work.
it's September 10th, I'm sure, the ORC tour. And if we're not in IBB, there'll be several of us that may be able to make it, but if we have IBB, several of us won't be. But,
It would be important for us to go because they're going to, we need to see what they're going to be talking about.
I know, I wish it was on a different night, because I also have tennis for Sarah.
Well, they usually meet on Wednesday night, but then they were doing it on Monday night to help us.
Help us.
I like the Monday night better. It works better for me.
Well, and
If
for
we-
the city. To help us in the city.
Dean,
But
can I share
Wednesday night
something
is
I
their
just got a
normal.
text on?
Uh-huh.
I just found out Zach is the new Governmental Relations Director for the KU Student Senate. And he'll have his own office and it'll be a paid position.
Wow.
So, Dr. Cobb's, look at all that great leadership you taught
That's
here.
awesome.
Is that what it is?
Zach has a bright future ahead of him.
In politics.
He does.
Just don't go skinny dipping in the sea.
Well, I must say, the new campaign movie with Will Ferrell, he went to watch it, he said that was the most horrible movie he ever saw.
Yeah, all right.
Yep.
Do I have a motion to
I
adjourn?
move we adjourn.
Did you see that?
Second?
Letterman.
Second.
Okay, motion by Bill, second by
Brian.
Brian to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
7-0.